What is up, guys? Welcome to the Creative Athlete Podcast with your host, Chris David Garcia, or known as CDG. I'm here with Ross. Ross, what's up?
What's going on, Chris? How's that heat in Texas?
It's good. You good? Real good. I'm sunburnt, so that's how good it is.
I can see
nice
that.
And, nice and toasty. And we're also here with our special guest, Ashely Popovich. Ashely, what's going on?
What is up, guys?
What's up, Ashely?
How are ya?
Good.
Great.
So I'm in Houston at Major Level Creative Studios. Ross, you're at your
I'm at Dodger
glorious
Stadium in my office.
Love it.
This is also my studio. And you might
Who's
see
that?
people walking in the background. That's a hallway back there. It's a live hallway.
Yeah,
and then
same
you got
here.
some trinkets and jerseys and stuff in the back.
As always.
That's right.
And then Ashely, where are you coming from? Well, obviously, but give us a little bit of sneak peek of what you got there to your.
Ashely has a very interesting backdrop, and we'd like to hear all about it.
I am in Charlotte, North Carolina at the new ACC headquarters in Bank of America Tower. Behind me, you can see Bank of America Stadium where the
Beautiful.
Panthers play, and our great ACC trophy where we play our ACC championship game every year.
Dude,
Awesome.
what a beautiful view. Congratulations on the move. I hope you get a nice, sweet digs and nice desk and office and all that good stuff. So Ashely is, well, by the way, we're going to refer to her as Pop. We're a big nickname group here. I go by CDG.
Yes.
Ross goes by Rossi. Ashley's going by Pop, which is short for Popovich. She's let us know that's okay. That's what she prefers. So if you see her out in the street or at Connect next year, just yell, Pop.
Yes, I go by Pop.
Love it. Yeah, I love that. I could just see that around the office, sticking their head in, hey, Pop, which is funny because that's what I call my dad.
I know, that's what a lot of people get confused. Well, like you go to the north and they're like Pop, and they're like soda, because that's what they call soda up there. And then they're like, or you call your dad or your grandpa or whatever Pop. So it just depends, but that's my name. So here we are.
I love it. All right. Well, officially, correct me if I'm wrong here, Assistant Director of Creative Service or Creative Design for the ACC Conference. Awesome title, awesome conference. We were just talking earlier. You had some big changes happening there in the ACC. How's that been?
It's been great. We just added 3 schools last week, so we're really excited about that. And excited for the future of the ACC.
Is that like a nice way of saying a lot more work coming?
Right.
Always having more work. We love adding more schools, adding more work. That's part of my job. So
well, we're definitely going to get there. Go ahead, Ross.
Are you stuck in the ACC office? Like, I shouldn't say stuck, but are you mainly doing all your work at the ACC office and you don't get to travel to these ACC schools? Because I was going to say, now if you travel, you can go to the West Coast.
I know. So I get to go to our championships. A lot of my job is going to our championships. So depending on where our championships are, I can go to some of our schools. I go to our main 4 championships. So men's basketball, women's basketball, football, and baseball. And then I can go to any of our Olympic sport championships if I want to. But we have 28 sports now. We just added women's gymnastics this year. And we just added 3 schools. So we're up to 18 schools starting next year, which is going to be awesome. Just a few things.
It is going to be a lot more work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no denying that. Well, before we get into kind of your day to day, let's just talk a little bit about like where you're from. What's your background? Like, where are you originally from, and where'd you
go to school?
Yeah, where did you grow up? Let's start there.
All right. So, grew up by the water in Charleston, South Carolina. Is where I like to say I'm from. That's where I grew up the majority of my life. Originally from Michigan, but moved down south into Charleston around 3rd grade and grew up there for a majority of my life. Went to Clemson.
Nice.
For college. So ACC. Yep. Born and raised. I have 2 sisters that also went there at the same time. I'm a twin. So we both went there. Yeah. So both of us went there, and my older sister also was there. So she was a senior when both me and my twin sister were there. So all three of us were there at the same time, which was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's very rare.
Yeah.
Wait, did y'all live together?
No, my twin sister, we lived in the same dorm, but we lived on different, we lived on different floors.
Okay.
But not in the same room. Yeah.
Now, is she an identical twin or a fraternal twin?
We are fraternal twins. Yeah. So we don't look anything alike, but and we're complete opposites. We're both really creative. She is actually in lighting production. So she works on tours in lighting production. Her and her husband both do that full time.
Oh man, love that.
Yeah.
Shout out Pop's sister.
Yeah. They call her K-pop.
So
her name's Kristen.
K-pop. All right.
Yep.
So okay then. What about first job? First job out of college?
So this is my first job out of college. So how I ended up here. So how I ended up here was I needed an internship for my degree to finish. And I just kind of started throwing darts at a dartboard and was like, I love graphic design. I don't really know what I want to do with it. And was like, I want to throw everything that I love and try to find my path. And what kept coming back was sports. And the ACC is what ended up falling in my lap. And I got an internship my senior year of college, full time, my fall semester. So I worked here full time my fall semester, senior year, and then freelanced my spring semester. Came back and did a full internship after that, and then have worked here full time ever since. So kind of worked up from there. So yeah,
that's cool.
So growing up, did you have a passion for sports, or were you just really into?
I never
or a bunch of sports.
Yeah,
well, Ross, you didn't see her media day headshot.
Wow, that was for those that don't know or didn't get to see all the headshots from Connect this past year. Ashely probably took the most epic headshot of everybody. So if you get a chance, check it out on her Instagram or in that folder. It's a really cool headshot. It just kind of represents all the sports she works for.
Yeah, she somehow found a way to like rock everything, and it was beautiful. But your background, so you said you did grow up in sports or had a love for it.
Yeah, so I've always loved sports. Like, loved watching the Olympics like every 4 years, well, every 2 years, because winter and spring, winter and summer, and watching all these different sports every few years. Love gymnastics. I played a bunch of different sports growing up, just like every kid, trying every different thing, soccer, to gymnastics, to whatever fell in our laps, right? And I never really put two and two together until I was throwing those darts at the dartboard my senior year, trying to find an internship of, I can combine these two loves that I have of sports and art. It never occurred to me that could be a passion, that could be a job. And that's why we do internships. That's why we do the things we do, right? So I'm so thankful that I took that chance to just explore everything out there. And that's what came back, because I would have never thought that was a job that I could do. A lot of people don't even think that that's a job. You just think that it happens, right? You go to sporting events and you're like, yeah, this just is a thing, right? It just is there. That you don't think that that's a job somebody does. So
what I'm curious, how long have you been with the ACC now?
6 years.
Okay. And of those 6 years, was there a moment in time where you really kind of had to step back and realize like, wow, this is a big undertaking? I mean, of course, I obviously get like every year, there's more responsibility, probably a title change and those type of things. But or every other year. But was there a year where you really kind of hit a wall, or realized that this is a pretty big undertaking?
Yeah. I think every year we add more and more, right? And I think one of the things about me that is why I'm good at what I do is I have both sides of that brain, of that creative brain and that organization brain. So, which is why I kind of thrive in this job of having 28 sports that I work on.
Yeah, no, but I'm tracking with you though. I mean, it's like I'll give you an example. When I started, when I first got, like, I guess my first job was like graphic design, and I didn't realize that there was so much involved with it when it comes to like management of projects and print and like all sorts of things. It wasn't until probably like 4 or 5 years later that I got to really hone in on just like the craft, because we started to build out a team, and I didn't relinquish some of those things until like I said, 4 or 5 years into it. And it was tough because I didn't sign up to like, manage a schedule of projects, or do procurement when it came to like an installation on the side of the building, emails, schedules. It was so no, I definitely noticed that, like, I know that's not for everyone, but I think folks who have that type of brain are able to go into that, like that management level, because at that point you really do have to understand it's a dance, especially with multiple sports.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's going to be our, you just said before we got on, you're in a moment where you're going to get a break, and you have to like really schedule your year around that. So I'm sure well, there's a name for that where you have like the type A, type B brain. I'm not sure what it is, but when did you were you always like that, or you kind of had to just like adopt that type of mentality when you started, working?
I've always been like that. I've always been somebody who is super organized, super creative. Like, my dad has like that engineer type brain. So I kind of feel like graphic designers are engineers in a way. Like, we have a problem, right? We have a problem that other people are trying to solve, and we have to try to solve it in a certain way, right? And we're trying to figure out these puzzle pieces that other people are trying to give us and put it together in a creative way. So I just see that in my brain, in a certain way, and also have that organization skills with time management, and am able to see that. I also, the more that I've worked here for 6 years, so I'm able to anticipate those annual events. I mean, we have our media days coming up. We have all of our sports. We have our crossover seasons. So I know that, once the end of October hits, I'm going to be really busy because we're in full fall sports, but also winter sports have started. So I'm going to have all those sports at one time, and then we're going to start just tumbling, right? And then I'm going to have to start building an extra time of, okay, I know other people are going to be forgetting about XYZ just because I've been here for so long, right? I know that these jobs are going to start piling up. So being able to anticipate the needs of other people, as well as building in the time for myself, it's just like that delicate dance. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
Yeah, you kind of have to be there for a while. It's something that I always recommend for folks who like are new, is learn the calendar. Ask someone like, hey, what happens in January, what happens in February, what happens in March, and just understand, oh, okay, here's my peaks, I mean, here's my lows. And I even heard, well, it's not that I've heard, it's just I've seen it. So many people in our industry like plan their vacations and their weddings around like, these seasons,
or their kids.
Try to, at least. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way. But like,
sometimes it doesn't work out, but
the Dodgers had a player last year that his wife went into labor during the postseason, and it's kind of sick, but the first thing that came to mind was they didn't plan very well, did they?
Yeah,
I know.
Ashely, props to you for having the organizational side, because I tend to find that creatives don't, that's organization is not their strong point. I'm one of those, actually. So, you're able to be creative and as well as be organized. But this kind of takes me into my next question as far as your schedule, because your schedule has to be crazy. And I'd like you to walk us through kind of a typical year, I guess, because at Connect, we have people, a lot of people that work for teams, like a team. We have a lot of people that work for a school, and they might have to work with all the different sports at that school. But you have this unique perspective because you work at a Power 5 conference. So you have to not only work with all these different sports, but you have to work with all these different schools too. So kind of take us through a year of that. Like, yes, it starts, I guess, in the fall, winter, or the winter. And then like you said, you had 28 sports. So how do you juggle all that?
Yeah, so I'll walk you through kind of like our
And
season.
then, sorry, not to interrupt, but the other thing I wanted to mention, Ross, is like for a lot of teams, I would say majority, you may have a championship that you have to deal with if you're lucky. Here, you're like guaranteed multiple championships are part of your, this crazy schedule that you're about to run us through. So I just want to mention that too. Like, that's such a unique perspective. I mean, a unique, honestly, like task, because some of us prepare for it and it never comes. You're like, okay, we get 4 or 5 of these a year. We got to be ultra ready.
That's it's super curious.
Yeah, so it's what I guess everyone else is normal is like just regular season or like preseason, regular season, and then postseason. All those, I deal with that for every single sport.
Wow.
28 sports.
Yeah. So it doesn't really stop.
Yeah.
I think I have about 2 weeks in June
that's there's really
that's really like break. Yeah, that's really like a lull sweet spot where there's nothing kind of going on, and that's really when the College World Series ends, and then we're in between football preseason. So our kickoff for football, which is our media day for football, was actually the week after MLC Connect, which is like the last week of July. And we kind of have and we're prepping for that, which is a huge media event, right? We're decking out an entire hotel. We have a huge press conference. We have we're planning a social room that we're getting content for the whole year to be able to promote on our social platforms. So it's being able to prep all of that in July before that as well. So we kind of start in July, prepping all of that. Then then our season starts in August, because that's when all of our fall sports start. So soccer's, field hockey, cross country, football, and then those start going into their championships, which is our championships that we host starting in October. And that ends December 2nd. Winter sports start in mid-October. So we have
there's a crossover.
The crossover of winter sports. So we have our basketball media days in October. Then basketball starts, and the other sports of fencing, indoor track and field. You have so many sports. I'm just trying to think of all.
The overlap must be a crazy time, though.
Yeah, it's just it just keeps going and going and going. And then in December, when it's postseason football, is kind of when and it's bowl season, is kind of when I feel like it's a little bit of a lull where you can breathe a little bit. So you have like that 2 weeks around Christmas where you're like, oh, I can breathe for like 2 seconds. And then you're in the fall sports have ended at that point because the NCAAs are over. Because you're also doing all the NCAAs for fall before that. Then you go into January and you're just dealing with winter sports, which is nice, and it's their regular season. Then you go into March Madness. Then spring sports start at the same time as that. And then it just tumbles until June. And you're in postseason for spring sports. And then we start
all over again. Oh man.
That's
so that's kind of like our breakdown of our year.
that
From like January to June is just a blur.
Props to you for finding some me time in that crazy seasons.
How do you? I mean, that's a really good. It's a good segue. Like, what do you do to
yeah, so that is
balance?
definitely.
Do you take a walk? Do you take some time off every year? Like, what do you normally do to just make that sustainable? Because I always think about it this way: creatives like are not 9-to-5ers. Like they're probably driving home, thinking about how they're gonna lay something out, or on the way to the office. They're like, okay, I know I'm gonna probably do this type of motion for this video. Like, what do you do to, in your role being there for for 6 years, what are some of the things you like to do to step away and recharge?
Yeah. Actually, so it was the first MLC Connect that I attended, and it was a virtual one. And I can't remember who was speaking on a panel, and he said that he was going to go to therapy for the first time. And he was just being really vulnerable about that. And I was like, wow, that is so brave that he took that platform to talk about that. To talk to all these random people that have never have, done that before. And I feel like I threw myself into this job, just like I told you, like have spoken about this in this past time. It's so easy to just dive in so deep and get drowned in the day to day. And he was talking about how he just lost himself in that. And I ended up going to therapy because of that. And it helped me take this time for myself and realize, like, hey, I need to refocus. My job can't be everything in my life anymore. Which is why I'm a huge mental health advocate. This was probably about 3 years ago that I started that journey. But I make a conscious effort to make those boundaries now of balance because I had no balance at that time. I'm really, really good, as I said before, of having that organization and balancing everything in my work life, but I wasn't good at doing that in my work and personal life and having that between the two. So now
it was unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's great that you came to that realization. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap. And a lot of us end up in therapy, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, not to make light of it, but I think that's the last thing we think about when we're kind of deep into our jobs is our mental health. And I'm finding that a lot of the younger generation of, I put myself in the older generation now, but I find that a lot of the younger creatives nowadays are taking heed more of their mental health and being more cognizant of that.
Yeah, I used to be like so ashamed to tell anyone, that I was seeing anyone, that I needed help, that I needed to see anyone. And now I'm just like, I think it's just important that you have someone to talk to and outside that's unbiased, that doesn't know you on, I mean, they know you because you're talking to them, but they have an unbiased opinion on your life and can just give you that advice of like, hey, yeah, you need to go take a walk. And Chris, to go back to your question, to really answer it is I do take that time now, and I try to refocus and take conscious time to either do restorative yoga or to just pause and take that time to just calm myself, because I feel like I'm going 700 miles an hour all the time. And that was something that, I mean, I was crashing and burning. I still burn out all the time. I feel like I live in burnout, but it helps me just calm and pause.
Yeah,
So,
you have the tools now. Yeah, it's that's a big part of it. Sometimes it doesn't have to be necessarily like a camping trip or, you know, a weekend getaway. It's just like, okay, acknowledging that you're overworked. It's time to realize that you know, we're not, you know, saving the world here.
yeah.
And I, but at the same time, like letting folks know, like, hey, I'm going through, hey, I got something going on. This is, you know, a lot of in I know this changed a lot when I kind of went to creative leadership. Was, you know, it was constantly like yes, 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 because we're service department, so we're kind of relied on to, you know, make the company, you know, look and feel the way it is. It's crazy. It's, to me, it's like one of the most important departments in the whole entire organization, because, you know, the organization could be in shambles, but from aesthetically, we're presented to like give this, you know, look and vibe and kind of overall brand and this level of excellence that you know, each company wants. And a lot of times it's hard to say no. It's hard to say, you know, hey, I can't do that right now, or we can't do both of those. And it wasn't until like getting into like more management and leadership where I was like, no, actually, that's like, it's okay. All that, you just work around it, right? It's not like, no, you can't do it. Well, then forget you. You know, we'll go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's just like, okay, well, when can you do it? It's like, wow, that was easy. We can do it in 2 weeks. So like, okay, we'll wait in 2 weeks. It's just like,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know if it's like you know, you try to prove yourself so much, or you're just trying to earn your stripes or what. But once you kind of get help and get the tools, you realize like, no, communication is like really important. And if you just tell your boss, hey, you know, I just need kind of take a half day. I just really need to, you know, and then I'll come back and crush it, whatever. Yeah. I mean, rarely are they going to have issues with that. So yeah, I love that. I'm glad you said that. A lot of people need to hear that. So,
Well, I think it's so great to hear that you attended Connect, and you know this is what Connect is all about. Um, you know, you took a nugget and you kind of took it to heart. I think that was probably John Willie that had
yeah.
mentioned going to therapy. He's the VP of creative for the Pirates now. But yeah, I'm just it just makes me happy that you know you got something out of it, basically got something
Yeah.
to Connect, basically, which is again what Connect is all about. Um, so that's great. I did want to talk about your work a little, Ashely.
Yeah.
Your work is
Jack
just
of all
great.
trades.
I mean,
Thank you.
you know, looking through your portfolio, and I kind of did this after the fact, you know, after meeting you at the last couple of connects, but I was like, wow, you know, Ashely's really good. um, so when we look at your portfolio, you just have this Swiss Army knife of skills.
Yeah.
You got like it's like graphic design, motion design, logo design, um, which is close to my heart. You had video,
Yeah.
print, digital, illustration, hand illustration. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
did you go when you decided you wanted to be a creative? Were you consciously trying to learn all those skills, or was it kind of because of your job that you had to be like that versatile?
That's a good question.
So I'm somebody who loves to learn. That's just something about me. I love to learn. I love to grow in any way possible. I started out a little bit about my journey of how I got to where I am with graphic design, period, is I started off in traditional art and illustration. I told my parents, I was like, I want to be an artist. And they're like, oh, they're like, you're going to be broken poor. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it. Right.
They're like, we're going to be supporting this girl for the rest of her life.
And they're like, okay, we're going to support you. And I was like, yeah. And so
what parents, they just don't know. They just didn't know.
And so I went to Clemson and I started off as an art major. And I was just painting and drawing.
Like traditional art.
Yeah,
okay,
traditional art.
You were trying to go broke now.
Yes.
I have a bunch of friends who are artists. I'm joking.
So I was painting and drawing all day, every day. And I was just like, I hate this.
Wow.
That took a feel. I truly was like, I feel like I am a robot. Somebody has taken all the creativity out of me and I am just doing something for someone else. And I cannot do this for my job. I cannot have this part of me that I love, which is art, be my job. So I was like, what is something similar and creative that I can transition to, which is how I got to graphic design. And which is how you see that I still use, my love for art, which I still love to paint and draw. And I do that all in my free time. And I do it on the side as side hustles and whatever. And I'll bring it into my graphic design work. I've actually brought it into some of our designs. I've put it on some of our signage. I have drawn awesome. I've drawn all of our mascots for the ACC, hand drawn them. I've drawn some of the buildings from our.
That's crazy. People don't realize how hard that is.
Yeah. So I've drawn
some of. You know what? I'm gonna give you a huge prop here, and I'm gonna probably get murdered from everyone else. But I always say this. I'm like, graphic design. I mean, you know what? There's books about this. So this isn't my philosophy. Ultimately, we're making compositions, we're editing things and, we're putting them together and we're laying them out. There's obviously color involved and all that good stuff. But a lot of times we're not actually creating the art. We're not like, so many people find out you're a graphic artist and they're like, hey, can you make me a tattoo? I'm like, oh, I'm not an illustrator. I can't like just draw. Like, well, can you sketch this thing of my son? I'm like, I can't draw like that, like and it's just another level when you can combine those two. It's crazy. I mean, I'll never forget, we hired an illustrator and she was just whipping up illustrations daily. It was unbelievable. And it was everyone else in the department, these are things that we'd ask for a week on it, like, hey, yeah, we'll try it. And she was just so talented in that regard. And I always tell people, like, those are the real artists. Like, those are the true, the hand, you learn anatomy, you learn like, texture, the, hatching and all that different type of, techniques. And don't get me wrong, I think a lot of us learned it. We had to probably, but there's just another level of being able to do that. That's like Ross said, like, that's extremely difficult to understand, like, animals and human body and,
or animals that have human bodies, which are like mascots.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, again, going back to logos, like, it's so hard to do a mascot logo because it's typically an animal, right? Or some sort of character versus like a, monogram or something, or like a shape, an abstract shape. Usually in sports, it's going to have a, features of being a mammal or whatever. Or anyway. So I would say that's
period. It's hard to do a mascot illustration, period. It's hard to do a lot of these things, but you have this you have a multiple skill set, and I'm hoping the ACC appreciates what you're bringing to the table.
For real. And it sounds like you find ways to put that original love and craft into everything, right? I mean, you get
I do.
Obviously in motion and I mean, it really starts with that. So That's so unique. So really, I interrupted. I guess you started there, but then, yeah. How did you end up? You just
Yeah.
pursuing design, video, and everything later, or just a challenge came up and you took it, or
Yeah, so I just kind of transitioned into graphic design. Um, and I just love learning new things. So it just kind of took me into these different avenues of learning the different programs. And then I'm very like math oriented, going back to that engineer brain,
Oh
which
man,
is, yeah, which is, I feel like unlike a lot of creatives.
you're a unique creative. I'm just
I
gonna say
am.
that.
pop the unicorn.
Really?
So which is why I really love like the motion graphics, going into the expressions and the coding on the back end,
Oh
figuring out
God.
all of that
Cool.
situation is super fun for me. That was my like fun project to learn in 2020. It was something I'd always wanted to learn, and I just kind of was like, yep, I'm just gonna do it. I dove into it. And then brought that into the conference office. I saw that as something we were lacking here. Like no one in our office knew how to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring it in. So I manage all of
That's
that as
great.
well.
That's awesome. That's such
Yeah.
an interesting thing you say, because I mean, you mentioned, because I look at that as so much opportunity, when you're looking in an organization and like you said, no one's doing it there, or you're not able to hire that particular area, like just do it yourself, get it done,
Mm-hmm.
learn it, you know, start making, I hate to say like more work for yourself, but just make, work with the other departments and work with the other teams. And once it catches on, it's hard to release that. And then you're like, well, great. Now we need to hire a motion graphics person. There you go.
But it's fun. Like I have so much fun doing it.
I
That's so
love that.
cool.
And that is, I feel like, what's part of our job that is unique about, not other jobs, like being a banker, an accountant. I don't know about them, but I don't think their job's that much fun.
I think they do. I think in a weird way,
Uh,
people like math, believe it or not. But ours just, has a little bit more visually appealing.
yeah.
Well,
And
I
I
always
just like,
say the difference between us creatives and bankers, these other folks that you're mentioning, is that I think they can be bankers from 9 to 5 and they could turn it off, whereas we never turn it off, right?
Yeah.
We never turn that creative switch off. It's just constantly running. I mean, we should be billing our employers 24/7. I'm sure that'll
yes,
catch
Ross,
on.
yes.
Uh-oh. That's gonna be a session next year at Connect. Hey, you know what? I had a couple more questions for you, and only because you're talking about so much work and so much opportunity that has allowed you to grow. I'm curious, how has it been in management, like managing people, managing other creatives? Is that a side that, you know, um you enjoy, or it's difficult? Just curious on your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I'm really a team of one.
Wow,
So I haven't like managed anyone.
that's insane.
Um, I have mentored people is in the best way that I can of I'm somebody who loves to teach and help others as much as I can. So I'll use the resources of the people in our office. So our comms department is much as I can teach them Photoshop or
Wow,
teach them tutorials. I'll make templates for people to try to utilize the different resources in our office to take things off my plate and distribute and delegate.
so smart.
I've like made video tutorials for different people so that I've learned as I used to teach them in meetings, they weren't going away with learning all the things. And now if I put a video tutorial with it, being able to put it with
Oh
for
wow,
them with that,
Yeah.
they'll be able to
that's
go back
next.
and reference it
That's next
and
level.
yeah, and be able to learn it as they go. So it's helped advance that and advance our whole department in
Yeah,
different areas and just bring everybody up. So it's not that I've been able to manage people, but I've been able to help others and mentor them as best I can.
That's huge. I think it's
Mhm.
huge, especially like if you're working with like a digital or social team and you're just teaching them Photoshop and, maybe photo editing and um, just fundamentals. Because a lot of pretty much everyone in marketing has like a creative side. I mean, it's I find it such a blessing when someone's like, man, I wish I could do it, I just don't know how. You're like, I'll show you. Like, I'll show you. Let's do it. Let me. Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to. I was, for me, it was a little different. I love to learn, but a lot of times it's out of necessity. And
Mhm.
I feel like, you know what, I had to learn it. Now I know it. So, I'll happily teach you. But for sure, I've always admired people who are willing to like add another notch to their belt in regards to like skill sets. Like it's tough because I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's hard to just have one craft or skill, because you get to a certain point and you're like, okay, I'm not that good. But let me jump to this other one. And, you know, that's I was joking when I said jack of all trades, but it really is like Ross was saying, such a unique um situation you have there. I mean, I'm gonna put in a letter or a memo for you to get a raise because that's
I was gonna
unbelievable that
say
you're able to do that.
you
It's
gotta put us in
unbelievable.
touch with your bosses because we'll lobby
Yeah.
for you to
For
for them to
sure.
get you staffed up.
Vice
Thanks.
president of creative.
I do have a boss. Her name is Martha. She's great.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
do
put it
want to
on right
say
now.
that.
Give me her
All
email
right,
address.
what's up, Martha?
I do want to say that she is awesome.
That's cool.
She does manage more of like the higher up level. So she's like the overall brand management. She just doesn't jump down as much. So I
That's
do
cool.
the day to day of like everything hands-on graphic wise. So we technically are like the team of two graphic designers,
Wow.
but I am the actual graphic, like the person who makes everything. She's the person who like oversees and is the overhead person. So yeah,
Yeah. No, it's and
if
and
that makes sense.
oh, totally. Yeah, because I mean, you do. There's so many things you have to fight for, and I hate to use that term, but there's so many things that you just have to say, hey, we can't do that, or we did that last year. We're gonna do it again this year. If you want to add more, you're gonna have to wait, or yeah. There's definitely a tag team situation that you got to have if to do anything like what you're talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Hey
Uh,
Ashley, what's another team or organization or company that consistently puts out creative work that you really admire? And it doesn't have to be sports.
Well, I loved what the Canes did this postseason. I think it was fire. Like all of their schedule graphics. I mean, it
it
was
was over
so
the top.
unique. Yeah, it was on another level.
Shout out
Um,
Cato,
yeah.
creative
So
director for the Canes.
Cato, Jack, everybody. I mean, it was just, it was awesome. So that's the first one that pops in my head.
That's
Um,
great.
Yeah,
so,
they attended this year, and they're a fun group too.
mhm.
I haven't met Jack, but I need to.
They have a great
And
team.
yeah, it's just and a good brand too, and a good city. Like it just helps when you have like all sorts of cool like geographical, like things to play on. I grew up born and raised in Houston. It's pretty flat. There's no like mega water. There's not like a mega ocean or anything. We're near water, but not that much. There's no mountain or like iconic building that's on the side of a license plate. We do have the shape of Texas, which we, really embrace that. But no, that's yeah, that was fun. I mean, when it starts making like news headlines and they're like, the battle, when the battle that's happening on the ice is the same that's happening like, on the digital
On
side, like
Twitter, yeah.
yeah, that's when that's what you want. It's the stuff you want to brag about. So stuff you want to take up to like the executives.
It always seems like a dumb question, but I think it helps give people a little insight into why we all do what we do.
Mhm.
Um, does being a sports fan or someone who's into sports help you be a better sports creative, and why or why not?
I'm going to flip that and saying being a sports creative helps me be a better sports fan because I do 28 sports.
Oh, wow.
So I knew nothing about field hockey.
Yeah, you
We
gotta
are
know the
the
rules.
best.
Yeah.
Most of us don't.
We are the best field hockey conference in the nation.
I was gonna say, I
Okay,
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
we have
Is field hockey
field
lacrosse?
out here.
It is not lacrosse. That is a different sport.
It's like
but
hockey on grass, right?
we have the goat.
Lacrosse.
We have the goat in field hockey.
Really?
Her name is Erin Matson.
Mm.
She's I think 23 years old and now the head coach of UNC field hockey.
Oh my God. That's insane.
She has 4 national championships.
Wow.
It's just like you learn all these things.
So I see where you're going with this. That's just field hockey.
You become a fan. So like my job has made me become a fan of 15 different schools, of 28 different sports, of sports I never was a fan of before. So it's made me become a better sports fan of more student athletes, of more sports. So that's why I'm flipping the question on
you. That answer. I wasn't expecting that answer, but what you said was it's a great answer.
It's profound.
Because obviously having to work with all these sports, you're a fan of field hockey and like softball and diving and swimming, right?
Yeah.
Who are we, Ross? We're nobody. We just love one or two sports.
You know, that's all.
You're my baseball.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie though.
But
go ahead.
But tell us the truth though. You went to Clemson.
I did.
You don't really root for like Florida State, do you? Come on.
I am unbiased. You see the colors
on the poster, they're like in the corner.
I love it. I love it.
It's neutral colors. I only wear neutral colors.
I could see.
Even Duke, like you even root for Duke in basketball.
I root for everyone.
Man, what a great
we can't
creative politician.
She's too good.
I was expecting. You know what? They didn't make it in the poster that we distributed across the nation. Yeah, we had to cut a few teams out, and unfortunately they're on.
Like leave teams off of posters and stuff.
That's so good. You have to be.
You're too good. You're too good. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
we couldn't get that gotcha moment.
You know what? But you do bring up a really. I mean, it was really. I love the way you flipped that. That was kind of hurt my brain there for a second, but I got it, and it's so true because you really do. You have to, understand the rules. You got to understand like the seeding and how the structure is for the playoffs, and you understand who the big players are, and then you become a fan of the sport and follow them, right? Like I'm sure a lot of them end up becoming Olympians and stuff like that. That's cool. That's so good. So it was such a good answer. We can't get her, dude. She's usually we on this show we we kind of bash people.
There's no gotcha moment here.
No, I'm kidding. Ross and I are like historically known to be like master haters. So just hang out with us at Connect a little bit.
We expect people to be haters like us, but it's
kind of odd when they don't. No, you're such a happy person. All right, I think let's do hot seat.
I think it's time for hot seat.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really not that bad.
I'm ready.
All right, just don't overthink it.
Bagels or donuts?
No, that's not
donuts.
All right, here we go.
Well, no, wait. Before we go into hot seat, I have to ask Pop one question.
All right.
So, like at Connect, when we were talking, you were really nervous about that batting practice.
Oh my gosh, I was really nervous, terrified.
She was
terrified. But I want to tell everybody out there that everyone out there that Pop went out there.
I did
that cage, and
of course.
She hit a couple tanks. I will say. I witnessed it.
I did. Chris did not believe me that was my first time that I had ever held a bat. I did not even know how to hold a bat.
That was insane to me. That was absolutely insane to
I
me.
literally turned to the person behind me and I was like, how do you even hold a bat?
Yeah.
Can you teach me how to hold a
Yeah,
bat?
legit. Like, which side do I?
I was like, I'm
The
a lefty.
which is mind blowing that with us giving you like 10 seconds of instruction, you were making contact and like decent contact. That was mind blowing. You know what doesn't surprise me though, based on everything we just been talking about and all the things that you do and
She
handle
knows
and
how to do
juggle.
everything.
For real. She's just like, I just need a 30-second tutorial and I got it. Yeah, that was
Video
mind blowing.
tutorials, guys.
For real.
Man, she kind of put a lot of us to shame. So,
Yeah.
props to you.
Dude. Yeah. There was actually a lot of people don't know this. We were taking B-roll of people at bat, and there was like half of the B-roll we could use. My videographers like, hey man, no one's making contact.
I actually requested for mine to be scrubbed, mine had to be like deleted forever.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. It was pretty bad.
That was fun.
And I played baseball growing up. It was a kind of shameful.
Well,
anyways,
another.
I just wanted to acknowledge that because
yeah,
you were nervous, but when you went out there, you like got the job done.
But you know what? I'm picking up vibes of Pop is just down for whatever. Like, throw it at me. Let's do it. I'll learn it. I'll roll with it. I'm in. When we asked her to be a guest, she was like, when? Now? Tomorrow? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Such a good attitude.
She went and grabbed that trophy and was like, let's go.
You will if you talk to the White Sox, I gave them a little speech at MLC Connect about how everything is figure outable.
Wow.
That's a great attitude to have.
Yes.
Figure outable. I love that.
Yep, that's a word I invented.
You know what? I have to remember that. I'm gonna take that and take it to heart.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, but as much as I do want to keep on keeping on, yeah, let's just knock out this hot seat and then let's see if it is figure outable. Let's see if you can't do this. All right, it's just good stuff. It's nothing epic. All right, I'll start. Don't overthink it. Favorite team to root for besides, your company in the ACC. Maybe besides Clemson. Let's put it that way.
Anything Detroit.
Ooh, that's cool. Can I ask why?
Yeah. All my family's from Michigan. My dad, born and raised Detroit.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Lions?
Yep. Lions, Pistons. Shout out Pistons.
All right. Well, let's go one more level. Favorite like Pistons or Lions player?
Oh, I can't answer that question.
Okay. I love it. I thought you were gonna rattle.
Diplomatic or
we're just diplomatically going.
Oh man! Right. Wow, dude, she's committed to that. All right,
all right.
Go, Russ.
Your desk and office, is it organized or messy?
Extremely organized.
Oh, I bet.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, after this conversation, for sure. All right, that makes sense. No reason to dig deeper. All right. Sponsorship asks you to make the logo bigger. What's your reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But inside. I actually say that.
No, I might verbally say it out loud, but they're not there.
Okay, but that's fair.
Because they pay lots of money.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What team has the best uniform in sports? According to you.
Okay. So I really love the Astros Space City and how you guys really play into the Space City. That is my favorite.
Wow.
I actually bought it when we were there.
No way.
Yeah, I just love that whole vibe, the color scheme, everything. about it is
That's cool.
my favorite. So,
Another
which is funny because
unexpected
I'm like,
answer.
it's not me trying to like just be like, oh yeah, Chris, let me just suck up to you.
For real.
But
That's cool.
it really just is like, I love how their whole brand just like buys into that, and their jerseys I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, they got such a good response from that. There's such a good team over there. And they really
Props to the Astros.
they really overthink things, which is good. I mean, they rolled out that as like it definitely is a case study on how to do it right. And they got the NASA font, like can't lose with NASA font.
I know.
Man, yeah, that's a great answer. You know what? Let's have you back. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Let's keep going.
What's your go-to typeface?
Ooh.
Personally, or like for our brand?
No, personally.
Just your go-to.
Personally, I love the font Lado. It's a sans serif
I'm familiar
font.
with it.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's classic, but I love using it on a high tracking.
I don't know that font. I gotta look it up.
Oh, it's great. It doesn't have a lot of it's a big family, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
all right, Chris, you get you go with the last the hot seat question here.
I don't even know why we asked this, but no, we have two more. All right. Game 7, Super Bowl. It's the biggest game of your life. What's your tradition? What's your pregame meal? What's something that you have to do? Or it's not going to be a good day.
Ooh.
Do you skip a meal? Do you have,
I have to make my bed.
Yeah, you Fruity Pebbles?
Well, I have to make my bed.
Okay.
I have to have a protein shake.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
Protein shake is good.
Love it.
Gotta go on a little mental health walk.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, I think that's
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just your pregame? That'd be like a full day for me. Then I would go to sleep.
That's the California guy talking. All right, Ross, you get the last one.
Okay. We had a question written down, but we had another question that we've used before, but I'd rather use this one. And we just talked in our pregame about Starbucks. But what's your go-to Starbucks drink or independent coffee roaster drink?
Okay. So I'm gonna go with 2.
Okay.
Because I have one in the fall and one regular.
I hear that.
So you drink it with your pinky in the air.
So regular, it's a black iced coffee with a shot.
That's a lot of caffeine.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Cuban
and
coffee
I've tried to cut back on that.
That's cut back.
Well, I've tried to like not have it as often.
Don't try to cut back. Creatives need caffeine's our fuel.
That sounds great.
Fall
when it's a little cooler.
Oh, it definitely involves pumpkin.
It does.
Only because you said you mentioned it earlier.
It's a pumpkin cream cold brew.
That sounds good too, actually. So just cold stuff.
That's a good drink. Got the little foam on the top.
Yeah, I love the little foam.
All right. Well, that's all we got for hot seat.
Yeah, you did good.
There were no wrong answers, but you still did great.
Thanks.
Man, this is you know what? Okay, I do have 2 more things. We'll close it out.
Yeah.
All right. I want to know, was there ever a time in your life, we usually start off this way. Was there ever a time in your life where you sat down and someone told you were sucking? Like you sucked. Like, you know what? This is terrible. Get it out of my face. Like, or you just like really not. And then how did it, affect you? Maybe in college, maybe in your career, just maybe you pissed off your parents. I don't know.
I don't think anyone has told me that. I think I tell myself that.
Ooh.
Ouch.
She's good.
Yeah. I am really hard on myself. So we'll get a little vulnerable here. Because, you know, Pop loves vulnerability. I think it's a great way to get to know people and just learn a little bit more. But in January of 2022, I actually went to get LASIK, and long story short, came out and had the reason why you sign all those sheets happen to me, and lost my vision.
Oh my
God.
Yeah. So I, as a creative, obviously that's
Yeah.
really traumatic
As a
because
human, but yeah.
yeah, as a human, as a creative, as anybody, period. And I'm doing good now, but had to learn a lot of things through that. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about just period. So
Wow.
through that, I realized that I had gotten into this robot creative mode of, we've talked about throughout this whole thing that I have 28 sports, I have 15 schools, and I just was grinding and doing all these things. All the graphics start piling up, the requests start piling up, and you're just trying to crank through and go through and get through everything as fast as you can. That experience shell shocked me of, I mean, I couldn't drive, I couldn't see what was in front of me. I was like running into walls because I couldn't even, like, you know, see depth perception anymore. And once I was able to like kind of function again and be able to design, it made me change my perspective of not taking things for granted anymore, of creative wise. So I started doing anything, even like from ticket graphics or whatever, and trying to pour a little bit of that love back into it. So
Wow.
anything that I do now, I try to just remind myself of, you know, hey, even though this is annoying or you have a lot of things on your plate, you have to remember, like, you are lucky to have this because you never know what's going to happen. None of us know what's going to happen in life, right? So um, being uh, a creative, it's hard to push yourself to continue to be the best that you can. So I think I am the hardest on myself, and I continually want to do better. So I just want to play, and that is my ultimate goal, is to play. And as long as I am reaching that goal, I think I'm doing the best I can. Um, so I think that's my answer to that question.
I love that. I love and thank you for that. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah. That puts it in perspective for a lot of us. I guess especially the part of like, getting a chance to work and being at the end of the day, we have gift. It's a gift. Creativity is a gift. Not everyone has it. Everyone has somebody in their life that can sing. Everyone in their life has, someone who has just like, incredible athletic talent. Those are things that we can't do. We don't have those gifts, and it really, what you said, puts it in perspective. We have a gift, and we got to be grateful for it. Wow, so good. I mean, let's just end it there. I mean, wow, I feel good inside. I want to give you a virtual hug.
Yeah.
No, that's so good. Appreciate you spending time with us. This is a beautiful view. Got to learn a little bit about you. I know at Connect, it's so fast. Like I wanted the mixer to last like 3 hours, and the after parties to last 4, and the conference to last 10.
Yeah.
And then it was just so. No, I appreciate you taking the time, and now I feel really bad. You got to get to work. It's like, hey, I'm extremely busy, but it just makes us. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing your
No,
story.
it's all good.
I think
I
it's great.
appreciate you guys taking the time to interview me. I mean, I love
It's
doing
not an
anything like
interview.
this,
It's a
or like
conversation.
conversation. Like,
we're just
this is
shooting the
fun.
ship.
Yeah, shooting the
That's
ship.
right.
This is fun.
Ship. I put a P on it.
But thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. We knew it would be. Great conversation. But now I guess it's time for you to go back, reach into that bag of tricks, into that Swiss Army knife, and get back to work, right?
Yeah, you know I'm good at time management, so I
For real.
already planned
That's
this
why I'm
out.
nervous. I'm like
She's
afraid
like, I
that I'm
didn't
gonna
plan this long to be talking to you
Bro.
two bozos.
Well, cool. Ashely, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. We'll share your handles and all that good stuff. And guys, if you want to see, more interviews like this, please subscribe, share with someone who you think, if there's anything that Ashely said, which there was so much in there that you feel, one of your coworkers or a fellow creator should hear, forward this to them. And that's it. That's all we got for this one. I'll let you guys say bye.
Thanks, Ashely. We'll see you at the next Connect.
See ya. Thanks, guys.
Hey, do me a favor. That thing behind the trophy behind you, it is outside or inside? Just show us one more time. It's such a mind trip.
I can also take the top off, and hold this.
And then throw a spiral.
For real. Yeah. For the first time in her life. All right.
No, I can actually throw a spiral.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Damn. That's a craft right there.
I'm not surprised.
Well, do me a favor. Ross and I, if we ever find our way to your town, to your city, I would love to tour the offices and see that stadium.
Yeah, definitely.
And have a pumpkin cold brew with you.
Oh, 1000%.
Cool.
In the fall.
All right, guys.
Only in the fall, though.
Yeah, only in the fall. You have to have an iced coffee with a shot any other time.
Oh, God.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Ash.
Have a good one.
Or Pop.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya, Pop.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.